This is the M10 Storm Jacket. It's a 3-layer, 30 denier alpine shell equipped with a PFC-Free DWR. This jacket was designed with climbing in mind and has a specific patterning that allows for unrestricted mobility.
Aiding this is a plethora of climbing features, such as a helmet-compatible hood, a dual front zip, a recoil reflector, and 2 deep chest pockets, with the left one being able to stuff the jacket inside of itself. Along with these things, there are some standard hardshell features that are present on this jacket, such as an adjustable cuff and adjustable hem.
To round everything out, the men's version comes in at 10.93 ounces, and the women's version comes in at 9.88 ounces.
If you're wondering about the fit, the jacket is a slim fit. I wear a size medium, and I'm 6 foot with a +4 ape index.
And I wear a size extra small, and I'm 5'5" with a 0 ape index.
Dry tooling in a hard shell is still crazy to me. I don't know how you do it. Just
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't know any better.
true.
And it's really good at keeping me warm. Like, it keeps the heat in, which I really enjoyed because it's cold here.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I just like the last time I had this thing on, I just like wanted to pull it off immediately. It got too
Really?
warm. But like I will say though, that if there's any shell that you're gonna dry tool in, these aren't that bad to dry tool in.
No, I mean, they're pretty durable. So,
Yeah, that's for sure. I know we've been doing some more dry tooling than normal. And like I know one of the days that we went out dry tooling, it was like weird chimneying off this like diving board feature.
yeah.
Just like full on back scum into it. But
I mean, they held up really well.
yeah.
There were no tears or anything. And, like, even with the dirt on them, they were still shedding water really well because there was a lot of water coming down the mixed line.
Yeah, that was very early stage mixed climbing. I wonder if it's frozen now.
Probably not.
Probably not. But yeah, I mean these things have been pretty great to climb in. I know you've been able to get a little bit of time ice climbing in them. I've had a little bit more time to kind of appreciate their design. They're definitely cool because they're one of the few hard shell jackets out on the market that were cut for ice climbing in mind. Like the arms are cut perfectly, so like when you're swinging overhead, you don't have the cuff go down to like your forearm.
That's something that I hadn't had to experience before, and so kind of take for granted while I'm
Yeah,
climbing.
you're so lucky that you never had to experience that. Like just last season, I was having to deal with the Alpine Guide, not the Alpine Guide, but the Super Free Alpine jacket. That thing constantly went down, and it was driving me nuts. And then like when I got my hands on these pieces, I was just like, this is what the future is. Like this is efficiency. It's really cool just because it's like you would think that it shouldn't be that big of a thing to be happy about that, but like every single jacket I've had, by the time I've gotten done with the climb, like almost all my forearm is showing. And like granted, I do have long arms. I've got the
Yeah.
monkey arms.
+4 ape index.
Yeah. So I've got long arms, and so I've always had to deal with this problem. But like the first piece that I didn't have to deal with it was the Alpine suit. And then I was like, okay, sweet. But like it's like a one-piece suit, which is still awesome, but like it's a one-piece suit. Like how it's very specific for what you can use it for. So then when I saw the M10 was coming back, I was like, you're telling me they have ice climbing specific arms? And so far, like, yeah, they've been great. Like, I don't know how they did it. I believe I emailed one of the people at Patagonia saying, like, what kind of voodoo magic did you use here? Because it works. Like, it works. And I think this is probably, like, the best display for an ice climbing piece or an alpine climbing piece of making something so good that it doesn't get in the way and that you kind of forget about it.
That's the thing is, like, when you were talking about how you don't know how, like, climbing in a, or like dry tooling in a hard shell, I just don't really notice it. It's not something that comes to mind. And especially because it's been a little bit kind of warm in regards to ice climbing. There's been a lot of water coming down and it's kept me so dry. So I'm like, why would I not want to do that? Why would I want a soft shell that's going to like Why would I want a soft shell that's gonna like slightly soak through?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's been pretty cool is I've always been on the fence about hard shells for climbing. I've preferred soft shells before, and then like a year or two ago I was like, no, I'm all about the hard shells. But there's definitely been hard shells that aren't cut right that sometimes limit mobility, not just in the arms but kind of everywhere. Or a big one that I have a problem with is when hard shells either have like a pit zip or something like that and they billow up right here. So when you're ice climbing and you're trying to either grab a screw or rack a screw and you're like looking down, you're like, I can't see anything. And then like I've had multiple jackets that have had that. And that's kind of cool about the M10 stuff is they don't really have any of those problems, mostly because they're very stripped down.
They're
like,
so minimal.
There's the minimalist like jacket there. So minimal that they don't even give you hand pockets. Like,
who needs them?
and like
Me.
granted hand pockets would be nice. I'd probably be the one thing that I would say that I'd really like to have with these jackets, with the full zip jackets at least. I could see the hand pockets being nice, and compared to having the old Storm 10, which was basically the M10, it had hand pockets and I really liked them.
The chest pockets are pretty good though. Like they're
Yeah.
really deep, and so even with a pack on and like the sternum strap, I can have my phone in my pocket and it's not going to be like rubbing against it or anything. I can fit quite a bit in there, but at the same time, if I'm like wanting to keep my hands out of there,
Yeah.
they just have to be in my sleeve or in a glove. Otherwise, open to the elements.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just like, I understand the reasoning and I understand the thinking being like, yeah, you're going to have your harness on or you're going to have your hip belt on, your pack on, and that you're not even going to get like total access to it. But even with like jackets that have the hand pockets and there's like only like a little bit of zipper, like I'll still like cram my hands in there and just be like, yeah, my hands are nice and warm. Like I still like that, and it's something that I do. That's probably the one thing I wish that these jackets had, is I wish they had hand pockets, or even for that matter, maybe like drop-in pockets.
Yeah.
I know some of my other shells have that, and I know it's possible. It'd be nice, but again, like it's so minimal, but it's minimal for a purpose. Like these things come in at 10 ounces. Like
Yeah.
they're wicked light.
They don't want to make them the M12.
No. So like for that reason, it makes sense of why they're so minimal, and they do work. Like again, it is a jacket that doesn't get in your way, and it just works.
My only little thing is sometimes when I have my harness on, after like I come down from a climb, I'll notice that it's kind of like bunched up a little bit above my like waist, but it's easy to just kind of pull down. I'm not sure if that's something you've noticed with other jackets or if it's mainly this one.
I feel like it's more this one specifically, and the reason why I think it is this one is it's got a dual zipper on it.
Yeah.
And so when you have a waterproof zipper plus a dual zip, it's weird. Like it's just a weird tension that is there. Like I've noticed it on mine when we've been out or climbing, that it kind of does like the weird like hill billowy thing. And like the only way I found to alleviate that is by undoing the bottom zip a little bit, which is interesting. But like at the same time, it's kind of a weird thing. Like I guess I appreciate the dual zip. I think the dual zipper has more of a use for rock climbing, like alpine rock climbing. Like let's say you're like climbing up a face and you're just in like a fleece.
Yeah.
And then like the elements just come in. It's starting to rain, snow, sleet, whatever. And you just need to throw on a shell real fast, and you can throw it on over top your harness and you can still belay in it. That's where the shell, I think, more shines. But for ice climbing,
it's always going to be underneath.
it's always going to be underneath. So in that aspect, it's like, like.
You're right, though. I think that would be pretty beneficial for rock climbing. And I guess that hasn't been something that we've had to deal with because it's been mainly ice and mixed and dry. So that's a good point.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of the reason. But it just, in terms of ice climbing, it's just weird. Like, but it's not even just ice climbing. It's like walking around. If you were to walk around in this jacket just daily, you'd notice it pretty fast. You know, just there's just a weird tension. And yeah, the only way I have found out to alleviate that was just by undoing the bottom zip, which again, it's just kind of weird.
It's kind of like, it shows that this is a piece that's meant for like technical.
Yeah.
Like it's a high performing piece that would be a little bit inconvenient if you were just using it as like your daily rain jacket. Like you don't have the hand pockets and the zipper isn't quite right, like it just wouldn't be great for that.
No.
It's meant for the mountains.
It's meant for the mountains, and it's meant for like the hardest objectives in the alpine.
Yeah. And it does its job really good.
It really does. This is the M10 Anorak. It's a 3-layer 20 denier minimalist alpine pullover shell that's equipped with a PFC-Free DWR. This jacket was designed with ice climbing in mind, with specific patterning that allows for unrestricted mobility. Aiding this is a plethora of climbing features such as a helmet-compatible hood, dual 3/4 front zip, a single chest pocket that also works as a stuff sack, a recoil reflector, elasticized cuffs, and an adjustable hem. On top of all that, this piece comes in at 10.58 ounces. Now if you're wondering about the fit, this jacket is a slim fit. I wear a size medium, and I'm 6 foot with a +4 ape index. You know, midway as we were talking about the other pieces, I kind of realized something, is that when we were talking about, yeah, like the M10 full zip is kind of weird for ice climbing and all that, how the double zip gets in the way. I totally forgot that this is the reason why. So this is kind of Patagonia's best minimalist ice climbing jacket. It's basically everything that you like with the M10, but more stripped back, more focused on ice. I mean, again, you do have a dual zip so you can dump heat, but it doesn't go all the way, because again, when you're ice climbing, you got a harness. This is something to be underneath your harness, not over top. And it's cut in the way where I don't even think you can get it over a harness. Like, it's so tight at the waist, but it just, like, it works. Like, I know when I first got this piece, I was like, oh no, like it feels a little tighter than normal, but I was still like, okay, like hopefully it should work. And then the first day out climbing with it, I was like, no, this is the piece I am in love with. Like, I thought that I was completely in love with the alpine suit, and I was like, this one piece suit is the thing. And then I got this, and I'm like, oh wow, because I had previously climbed with the Storm 10 for about a season and a half, so I really started to dig like the ultralight shell, like not this like ruggedized big piece of shell. Like, I really like the thinner and lightweight stuff, because a lot of times that's all you need. And
it's still waterproof.
Exactly, and it gets the job done. It's still a 3-layer shell. Like, it just does the job. So having this in an anorak, it was so cool, because you just know that this is a specialized piece. And it's also kind of cool because Patagonia brought back this piece from kind of the archives, for that matter, because this was something that was present with the old version of the M10 with the high alpine kit. It was an anorak. So it, like, the kid in me is like, this is awesome, because this is something like Patagonian climbers like Steve House helped develop originally back in like 2018 or 2016, and now it's like, it's back. So when I was climbing with it, I was like, no, this is cool. This feels like you're climbing with history, but like modern history. Like, this is how it should be. So today was the first day of climbing in this. If you don't know what this is by looks, this is the new Patagonia M10 Anorak. It's like, they used to have the M10. It was part of the high alpine kit, and then kind of turned into the Storm 10. Well, guess what? It's back, and it's amazing. I gotta say, it's really amazing. Like, climbed this today. This was perfect for it. And yeah, it's super awesome to have this back and finally get to use it.
I'm a little jealous, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of aspects of it that obviously are a bit different than the normal M10 jacket, like the sleeves and obviously the zip. And I'm jealous. I wish that they made a women's one, because I'm like an extra small in the women's jacket, so the men's extra small wouldn't fit me. So I'm just gonna be sad over here while you enjoy your jacket.
Yeah, but yeah, seriously, this has been probably my favorite jacket that I've had for the last few years. Like, I was kind of skeptical of it at first. I was like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like you don't get 2 chest pockets, you only get 1. You don't get Velcro in the cuffs, you get elastic, which I've got to say, that's probably the best. I prefer the I was very, again, skeptical of it at first. I was like, how is this going to work with a glove? And like, is it just going to like go down? Is it going to go on my forearm? Is it going to get tight? This is where I believe the magic of M10, where they figured out how to like pattern it for the sleeves where they don't roll down. Like, this is the jacket that it was the most present in. And I was like, wow, I don't even know how they did it. Like, this piece is just sick. Like, everything about it. It makes you feel invincible. It makes you feel strong. Like, you're protected from the elements, but it's not weighing you down. Like, yeah, it's awesome. And like, even like with the fine details with like the climbing helmet, like over the helmet hood, like it's awesome. Like, it's just an awesome piece. Like, I can continue to talk highly about it just because it's so great.
In general, for ice climbing, you would probably recommend this one over the normal M10 jacket then?
Yes.
Okay,
100%. I would recommend this for ice. Like, if you are just ice climbing and you want the best ice climbing jacket, I'd get this. The Anorak is the way to go, for sure.
Mm-hmm. These are the women's M10 Storm Bibs. They're a 3-layer, 30 denier alpine shell bib that are equipped with a PFC-Free DWR. These bibs were designed with climbing in mind, with specific patterning that allows for unrestricted mobility. The bibs feature bike-inspired suspenders, boot-compatible cuffs with an added scuff guard, a thigh pocket, and a stash pocket in the bibs. And finally, they include a Rico reflector. The bibs come in at 9.4 ounces and are a regular fit. I'm wearing a size extra small and I'm 5'5". These are like my first pair of bibs, and so I think it's interesting to see, first of all, just kind of like how I like them, but the practicality of them, I guess. I mean, seeing you with your M10 pants, a lot easier to take on and off. And also the fact that you're able to have that zipper if you have to go to the bathroom. That's probably the thing I'm most jealous of.
Yeah. Just like the simple things.
The simple things, being able to go pee.
Yeah. Yeah. An advantage that the regular M10 pants have.
Yeah, these ones, I think that the idea behind it is really good. I like the idea of having a pair of bibs. I think in execution, there's a few things that for me personally, I would change. Like maybe having a little bit more elastic in the actual bib section. I know like my first time getting on, I heard like a seam pop and was like, oh no. And then having a way to go to the bathroom, I think would be a pretty nice thing to include as well.
Yeah, there's not a really great way to get in and out of these fast and to go to the bathroom. Like, I think that was kind of one of the things that was interesting at the beginning when you first got it. Like, you had it on, I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then we were both at the same time like, wait, how do you go to the bathroom? And it's like, it's not easy. It's because, again, it's not even like a traditional like bib. It's like just something in the front holding it up because there's nothing really in the back. Like,
no,
the bib section's not connected to the back. You just have elastic in the back.
And like, I would 10 out of 10 prefer just the elastic all around. Like, yes, they are held up nicely, which I guess is helpful, but it's just inconvenient. And every time I'm putting it on and taking it off, I'm like worried I'm going to pop something. Like I'm going to rip the bib off or something. There's like a nice pocket inside of there, which I guess is interesting. And there's like also a pocket here, which you would actually be able to access while climbing. So, they're okay, I guess. I think if I had just had these and I didn't see you with your M10 pants, I'd be like, they're great. They're waterproof, which they are.
Mm-hmm.
They fit nicely around a boot. I can still access my BOA dial. Like, no snow gets in them. Awesome. But then seeing you with yours, I'm like, oh, the potential.
Yeah, they could have easily just made the M10 pants, like the men's version, just unisex or just that with the fit of these. Like, they could have just, like you said, they could have just put elastic all the way around. And I think that would have made the pant a lot better. It would be interesting to like see the notes to be like why they included the bibs, like what reasoning. Because my only thought is that they just look like the dual aspect pants. Like that's all they look like to me. The bib is the same. Like my dual aspect bibs have the same exact bib, and I don't like them as much because they're not. There's nothing to them. It's just a mesh. It's not like they don't hold it down. They don't pull it up. They're just there. So like, and like if they're just existing, why wouldn't they put elastic in the front and just not have that? And if you just had that one simple thing, I mean, if you needed to like go to the bathroom, it'd be so much easier just to drop them because it'd just be elastic. And
instead you have to take off all of your layers.
Yeah.
And then take off the bib and then attempt to get the pants off.
Yeah. I mean, the least that they could have done is include some sort of zip.
Which, like, I was looking on their website because I was, like, a little bit bamboozled by this when I first got them. I'm like, there's no way. Yes, there is a way. Like, I think some of their ski pants, the women's bib ski pants, I can't remember exactly which one, maybe Snowdrifter, but they had a zip to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, you can do it,
Yeah.
but you chose not to. And I guess it's to keep with the simplicity of the M10 line, but I would argue that I'd rather have an extra ounce of weight and be able to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with how these are marketed as like the best ice climbing pant where you don't have to think about them. Like, sure, they probably climb pretty good, but I'm willing to bet that bib does not make them climb better.
No, and if they like just chopped off that bib, put in a zipper, pretty much convert them into the men's M10 pants, I would love them. And like, I do like them. They're good to climb in. They have lots of like mobility and they're a comfortable pant. But I feel like that's a little bit of a low bar. And if they had just chopped that, I would adore them. I just want the men's ones. If you are able to, like, if you're in a size that would work for a men's M10 pant, I would recommend that, I think.
Jump and chip.
Unfortunately, I am not, and so, yep.
These are the men's M10 Storm Pants. They're a 3-layer, 30 denier alpine shell pant that are equipped with a PFC-Free DWR. These pants were designed with climbing in mind, with specific patterning that allows for unrestricted mobility, specifically a jiu-jitsu-style crotch and a 4-point gusset knee. Some other features to the pants include a low-profile elasticized waistband and elasticized cuffs, an offset zip fly, a zipper thigh pocket, and a Rico reflector. The pants come in at 8.47 ounces and are a regular fit with a set inseam of 31 inches. I'm 6 foot and I wear a size medium. At first, I was kind of skeptical on these. I mean, you'd heard things from Patagonia athletes and ambassadors who were talking very highly about these pants. I know Colin Haley was like ranting and raving about them. And it's always hard in the outdoor space to like take what's actually truthful or what's like blown out of proportion. Like, is it overhyped or is it underhyped? Like, it's kind of those things that I definitely know I struggle with in this industry of like not knowing if it's all worth it. And at first I was very, very skeptical on these. And like even the day I got them, I tried them on and I was like, okay, like these fit interesting. They're not like a hard shell pant that I've had before. And surprisingly, the closest thing that I felt with them for mobility was the Alpine suit. Surprise, surprise, the same designer who made the Alpine suit designed the men's M10 pants. And that was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy to feel this similarity between like unrestricted motion with a hard shell pant. I didn't think that was kind of there. But when I got the pants, it wasn't ice climbing season. So it was like, okay, like these are kind of how they feel. I don't know how they are in use. Well, being able to use them, wow, they are really good. They're really good. And it's insane, like just everything. I mean, I know these things are definitely the alpine climbing pant. Like maybe they aren't the best ice climbing pant. Like they don't have a nick patch. Like most ice climbing specific pants have a nick patch. Even the women's M10 pants have a nick patch. These ones don't. And maybe that's why I was always kind of skeptical of them before. I'm like, but they just don't seem like an ice climbing pant. Like they have elastic around where the boot would be. Like you would think that they're not that great, and like how they're kind of baggy in ways. I was like, man, this is a disaster waiting to happen. But yeah, no, they are pretty great. Like even going to like an ice climb and just driving in the car with your base layers on, not having a shell on, and just the ease of pulling up to like the trailhead and getting out and slipping these things on because they're just elastic. That's pretty awesome. I mean, of all the times I've been able to climb previously, like with a dual aspect where I had to like fold over just to get the bibs on, like it's pretty sick to have these be so easy to get on. And like even approaching, they're really good. Like they're cut amazingly where there's not a whole lot of restriction. Like when you're post holing and you're having a high knee, like there's no restriction on them. It was pretty great. And like the bagginess that I was worried about before, like they weren't too baggy on approach, like they never got really caught. But what kind of turned me like fully around on these pants was being able to like mix climb and dry tool with them. Mostly because they did their job extremely well to where I didn't even realize like I was wearing them. I didn't notice them at all. And that has been something that has been like I've never been able to have that with a hard shell pant. I've always known that I've had a hard shell pant on when especially doing mixed climbs and dry tooling routes because like I mean sometimes you have to flag out really far and you're almost doing the splits. Like sometimes you have to do those things. That's normally why I've always preferred soft shell pants for those activities. Whereas with these, getting on the mixed climb and just being able to flag out and have unrestricted mobility, that was insane. And then even being able to like hip scum against rock and then come out the other end and be like, wow, they don't have holes in them. That's great.
Yeah, they're crazy durable.
Yeah.
For
how light they are. For how light they are super durable. And again, that went to my skepticism towards these pants at the beginning. I was like, they just feel so light. Like I feel like they're just going to split and tear really easily. And I mean, even that day that we went mixed climbing, we like went questing into a canyon that we were like post holing through an ice layer in the creek and like going through and bushwhacking. And I was like 100% for sure sold that I was going to walk out with some sort of hole because in that same environment, I put a hole in my dual aspect bibs. And these came out just fine, even after mixed climbing and taking a little like whip on them. Like they didn't get destroyed, and being able to ice climb in them, like on top of being able to dry tool and mix climb on them, like it's been crazy. Like I didn't think that a pant that's so simple could be so good for ice climbing, because in my mind I had always been like, well, you either need bibs or a high-waisted pant for ice climbing, or like a soft shell with belt loops. Like putting all your trust into elastic, it's kind of hard at the beginning. Like you wouldn't necessarily trust it 100%, but yeah, after actual use, no, they're insane. They're insane how good they are. It's like only one quirk that I have with them is I only found that out because I like went through the water a little bit.
You broke through the ice.
I broke through
to your knee.
Yeah. So the only thing that I found, which was kind of interesting, but it actually shows you how good the steel is when I broke through, I noticed like the whole pants like puffed up. So like they trapped the air that was around my boot. So the elastic, it works really good, but it was just kind of one of those weird things where like I just like busted through the water. I saw my whole pants inflate and I was like, oh, that's weird. So, but yeah, I mean, the M10 pants are amazing. I think if you're looking for the ultimate ice climbing clothing setup, going with something like the M10 Anorak and the M10 pants, that's solid. Like, I don't know if you can get better than that.
I am a little hurt. Those are the two pieces that aren't for women. Yeah. But how you've been using them, like, it's been crazy to see just how well they work and especially how durable they are. Because I had the same thoughts of you about this is super lightweight. I don't know if this will even work for like a tool over the shoulder for the jacket. No issues.
No issue.
Kind of crazy.
Very.
They did a good job.
They did a great job. M10 is back.
Better than ever.